Hey friend, Roger Christopherson here again with another first listen review. Didn't do a whole lot last week with this, so hopefully everybody's stuck with me. It was a really, actually horrible week for releases. There wasn't anything I got that I thought was really review worthy, so I just didn't do anything. Plus it was 4th of July. Had a bunch of shows and all kinds of stuff. But this week there's a few things came out. This one in particular that I'm about to babble about was really unexpected. I didn't even pay attention that it was coming through, and I'm talking about Sting and his first solo release called The Dream of the Blue Turtles. For me, The Police was actually one of the very first bands whose albums I actually spent my own money on and bought. It was one of the, I remember doing one of those BMG Columbia House deals, and Ghost in the Machine was one of the first cassettes I ever bought, and I actually paid that one off. However, I probably still owe them money for like the Outlandis d'Amour or Regatta de Blanc or something along the lines there, because I went back and got all that early stuff too, and been like big follower of Police and Sting ever since the beginning. So actually it was funny because I remember there was a show, because I didn't have cable TV growing up. I had to go to my friend's house, watch MTV and all that stuff. But there was a show called Friday Night Videos, which anybody from the 80s I'm sure remembers that show. It was on super late at night, but it was only on for like a half hour, an hour or something like that. So they only ended up playing like a few videos. But I remember them playing If You Love Somebody, Set Them Free all the time. And I did not initially go out and get this album because I didn't care for that song very much at all. However, I caught Fortress Around Your Heart, which oddly enough is like the last track on this CD, which is strange that they released that as I think it was the next single maybe. I don't remember the order they did all this, but I remember seeing that one and thinking, holy crap, that is a weird song, but I really like it. And actually I saw Rick Beato do a video on this not too long ago saying this song shouldn't work, but somehow it does, which makes sense because it's really odd stuff going on in the verse. However, the chorus is very catchy, like something you'd expect from the Police. So I like that one. I think Love is the Seventh Wave was one of the other singles, and Russians. And I remember Russians. It was fun listening to this all over again, because I actually haven't listened to this album in a really long time. And just how still the message in that rings true. And it's not political. There's nothing political in that song, which is nice. It's just a song about humanity, basically. And I don't know. I really like to listen to this whole thing again. It was fun. I don't believe any of this was remastered or remixed or anything. I don't find any notes that says that, but it was just fun listening to this album all again. A little bit more subdued, laid back, not quite as poppy. I think the opening track and the closing track are the most upbeat songs on the whole thing. Got more of a jazzy feel to it. Just it was expanding, and he came from that background. He's kind of continued to do that with his solo stuff, just more experimental, a lot of with the fusion and jazz stuff going on. But this one was more just laid back, wasn't poppy as the Police. I'm sure that was quite intentional. And I see that this was like, it's weird that something with this whole release is really strange. It's being released on CD in Japan. No big to do about it, but it's being released digitally here in the United States and other countries. I don't know if, I imagine at some point it'll be released on CD as well, but it's strange they're only being released as a 3 CD set in Japan, and then the rest of us get streaming. Now the cool thing I saw that was being announced was that there's like 13, I think it said, songs that are unreleased. However, like 10 of those are just different versions of If You Love Somebody, which I mentioned is not my favorite song on the whole album. So I didn't go through and listen. I'll be quite honest, I didn't go through and listen to every single one of these, because 10 versions, actually be 11 versions of this like in a row was a little bit too much for me. However, I did check out the bonus track Another Day, which actually I really enjoyed that track. I don't know why that wasn't included on the original. I guess it was a B-side, wasn't included on the original release. Really good, fit in perfectly well. I think that could have fit anywhere on that whole album. It was right in that same vein. The Ballad of Mac the Knife, however, was a little bit more, wasn't my taste. I don't know how to explain it, more vaudeville or something. I don't know. It just wasn't that my cup of tea. However, there was a couple other remixes and stuff on here. There's actually two different mixes. Actually, it's just one new mix of the Love is a Seventh Wave and then the single version of it, which I did not compare the two to see what the difference was, but usually it just made it shorter or something, but didn't check that. So if somebody caught what the difference is there, or wants to listen to this or wants to check it out, feel free to put it in the singles. But as always, I'm never prepared for these things. I'm just speaking off the cuff, like a couple of friends shooting the whatever about the music that we love and what we thought of this. That's kind of what this is. And there's an acoustic version of Moon Over Bourbon Street on here, which actually like that better than the album version. I thought that was pretty cool. And then the very last thing on here is the Hugh Padgham remix. I don't know if I said that right or not, of Fortress Around Your Heart, which quite different actually from the original. I think either one of these could have worked on the album. I thought it was an interesting way he mixed it. A little more keyboard heavy. I think personally, after listening to both, I like the original version better. Although I think if I had heard this one, I wouldn't have thought any different of the song itself, because good song's a good song. So that was the most interesting thing for me at all, was hearing that version of Fortress Around Your Heart, and probably the Another Day bonus track. So out of all the things on there, those were the two that I really enjoyed the most, and it was just fun revisiting this album. There's actually 5 other albums that they're redoing here. Well, 4 more albums, 5 albums total that they've done this with, are being released in Japan. And I'm not sure when the digital release is going to be for this. Maybe they've already done it, I don't know. But this is the one I stumbled across. So it's the one I dug into first, and that's my initial thoughts on the whole thing, because that's kind of what this is our first listen. That's what that means, first listen, and what we thought of it. So if you guys have had a chance to check this out, what do you think of all the stuff? Any cool Sting stories you want to share, or history? As always, that's what this place is for. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because that'd be cool if they actually dug into the vaults a little deeper maybe on some of these. I'll have to check out and see what the other ones are. I actually don't know. This is, like I said, the first one I dug into. See if they dug any deeper on this other stuff. If anybody has any suggestions, if they've heard any of this other stuff, what we should check out first, post it down below. I mean, that's what this is all about, just keeping each other informed about what's out there and what we think is cool. So until the next one, we will see you.